Hey, I'm Haley. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be answering your frequently asked questions. So over on my Instagram, which is Haley Outside, if you don't follow me, make sure you're following me there. I share a lot of day-to-day life, all about our everyday hikes and camping trips, all of that good stuff. So I asked my stories to ask me some questions, and today I'm going to answer those. So just a little bit about me really quick. My name is Haley. I have 2 kids, toddler boy, 1-year-old girl. We go hiking, camping, backpacking. I am 28 years old. We have a dog. So yeah, that's just some basic info to start off with. But getting to the questions. The first question says, how do you get the confidence to do solo trips / hikes? Traveling by myself was a little bit daunting because, on a road trip, you can't just, turn around and help the baby or sit by the baby to help them if they're fussy. But, I just did it, and especially when I first had my baby. My husband was deployed just a few weeks after, and so I did a lot on my own. And I think the confidence just came a little bit naturally. Before I had kids, I already loved to hike on my own. I would take my dog on hikes all the time. So it wasn't that crazy for me to think, oh, I'm gonna go on a hike by myself with my baby. And I figured, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, I guess there is a lot of bad things that could happen, but I take a lot of precautions and I'm very careful on our hikes. So I think the biggest things that help are being prepared for our hikes. So I make sure to bring all of the right gear. I bring gear that makes me feel more secure. So things like my Garmin InReach Mini, that is an SOS device that I can either contact my husband or family members even without any service because it uses the satellites. I can also contact search and rescue with that in case we were in a really dire situation. So that makes me feel better. I do carry pepper gel in my front hip belt pocket all the time, bear spray in situations where I think I might see bigger predators. So all of those things have just helped me, and just the more I've gone, I've gained some more self-confidence. Next question, any toddler potty training while hiking tips? I have a toddler who is 3 and he is potty trained, and I think potty training boys is a little bit easier. I'm going to assume I've never potty trained a girl, but I just think potty training a boy is easier because he can stand up to pee. So one tip I would say is if you live somewhere where it gets really cold, I would try and potty train during the nicer months, just because then they can pee outside and you don't have to worry about taking off a ton of layers, or if they had an accident, they're not soaking through multiple layers. So we potty trained our toddler in the late summer, early fall. So that worked out great. And just bringing extra clothes in case they do have an accident and not getting upset over that. Also making sure you feel like they're potty trained well at home first. That's what I did personally, is we didn't really leave the house for a couple days while we were practice potty training. Another big thing is just making sure you wait until you feel like they're ready. Just because Susie down the street potty trained her little one at 18 months doesn't mean you have to potty train your little one at 18 months. We waited until my toddler was about 2.5 to potty train him because he was already going pee in the toilet before, like he'd take a bath or something. He was just giving some signs. He was talking well, so we were like, it's time to potty train him, and it worked great. So highly recommend just waiting until you feel like you and your toddler are both ready. Okay. Next question, how did you get into this type of work, AKA influencing, if that's what you want to call it? I could do like a whole dedicated video on this, but a shortened version is, like I said earlier, Logan was deployed when our baby was born, and I was just feeling like I wanted to get out and hike with my baby, so I did, and I just started sharing about it on my Instagram page, my just like regular one where my friends followed me. And then I kind of thought, hey, like I have my mom who is a big outdoorsy woman who would take us camping and hiking as kids, and she was like I'd ask her for advice. Anyway, she was just kind of like my inspiration. So I was like, maybe I could post some tips and tricks to help people who don't have somebody like that in their life. So I started doing that, and then I was like, I can maybe reach a wider audience with like hashtags and things like that. So I just started doing more strategic things to help grow my page. I started posting reels, and those started to take off, and my page grew from there. And so yeah, after that I started, a TikTok page. I started my blog, HaleyOutside.com. I've started this YouTube channel just this year in 2023. So slowly but surely I've built it up, and I just try to share content that's got a lot of value to it with tangible tips that other people can take and use to help get outside with their kids. So that's how I got into it. It's kind of by accident. I had I didn't even know you could grow a following talking about hiking with kids, but there's a lot of interest in it, I guess. Okay, next question. I need backpacking inspo, things your family eats backpacking. I came prepared for this one. So Mountain House meals are what Logan and I usually eat for every dinner when we backpack. So this is what they look like. They're dehydrated meals. These can be kind of pricey. The reason why we have these and we've used them so exclusively is because my grandma, before she passed away, she had some food storage and these were in her food storage. After she passed away, we got these because we were pretty much the only ones who would use them. So yeah, we bring Mountain House meals with us. Yeah, they're just dehydrated meals. You just add water. I am a very simple cook when it comes to backpacking. I just don't want to do a lot of extravagant things and deal with a lot of dishes. So that is what we eat for a lot of our meals. For lunches, we'll eat like wraps or sandwiches, sometimes ramen if we are in the mood to like take a long lunch break, and sometimes just snacks throughout, like granola bars, dried fruit, jerky, crackers. I love those Lay's Stacks potato chips. So good. For breakfast, a lot of the time we will just eat, I'll just eat like a granola bar, but also these oatmeal cups, or you could do oatmeal packets. These are great for breakfast for us and the kids. One thing my toddler loves is mac and cheese, so we bring these Annie's mac and cheese cups, and he loves these. He's getting a little older now, so he does need a little more food than just this, but when he was like 1.5, 2, this filled him up for dinner. Sometimes he'll eat a few bites of our dehydrated meals, depending on which one it is. We do pack some heavier weight foods for our baby and toddler just to make sure they are eating enough on the trail, so things like fruit pouches, fruit leather, fresh fruit, a lot of granola bars, so just kind of whatever they eat at home, we pack on the trail. If it's gonna be cooler weather, sometimes we'll pack in cheese sticks. Another good option is to bring cereal if your kids like cereal, and then powdered milk that you just add water to. I even remember doing that growing up because I was kind of a picky eater and I liked cereal. So those are just some options. I'm pregnant, feeling nervous about my life changing and losing my independence. Any tips? First of all, congratulations. Being pregnant can be very exciting, but it also can be very scary. I think one of my best pieces of advice would be to just, after you have the baby, take time for yourself and for the baby and just, you know, have that quiet downtime. And then when you're feeling up to it, find what feels right for you, what feels good to you, whether that's getting back to hiking, whether that's going to the gym. After I had kids, I didn't have a huge desire to go back to the gym. I was a big gym goer before kids. After, I just haven't loved that, and I don't force myself to go. So just finding what makes you happy. So for me, that's hiking and being outside with my kids. I love that. So it's very doable. It is more work. It does look different, but it does not have to change your life. And in a lot of ways, it's elevated my outdoor experience, taking my kids with me, because I just have this little buddy with me all the time who I love so much, and they enjoy being outside, and so it just makes me happier. And especially now that I have a toddler who is hiking on his own a lot, I get to see things through his eyes that I didn't pay attention to as much before, like the different rock structures and the pretty flowers. Like before, I would glance and appreciate them, but now we really stop to look. And there's so many teaching moments that I love, and it becomes so special to me. So while things are different, a lot of things are better, in my opinion, having kids. So don't let anybody tell you that your life is, your adventures are over, your life is gonna be so different that you won't enjoy it anymore. Especially as moms, people love to tell us what we should and should not be doing and how we should be raising our kids. But you are the best mom for your kid, and you will know how to best raise them. You get to decide how your life is going to go, and don't worry about what other people say. People are gonna have their opinions, they're gonna share them with you, but you get to take and choose what feels right to you and how you're gonna live your life. All right, sleeping bag recommendations for 4-year-olds for car camping in a tent, low 30s at night. So this is the only sleeping bag I've ever used for my kids, so I can't really speak to any other sleeping bags out there, but I love these. And they are the Morrison Outdoors sleeping bags. So this is actually for a 6-month-old to a 2-year-old, but we have the bigger one. It's just out in our trailer right now, so I can't go get it. Or I don't want to. But yes, this is what the sleeping bag looks like. They go up to like, I think 6 years old or 10 years old. I can't remember, but for sure up to 4-year-old. So it's basically like a sleep sack made out of sleeping bag material. This is their down sleeping bag and it's rated down to 20 degrees. So this is what I would recommend if you're gonna be camping in low 30s. This is what I've used for my baby and toddler. Love it. They do have a synthetic version that's good for like 40 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit is the range on that one. But I love it. The only downside I will say to the down sleeping bags is they don't have fold over hands, so they can't get their hands out. I think that's the biggest mistake. I don't know if it's like they did it because they have to do it for temperature ratings, but it is very frustrating. So I am tempted to cut it out, re-sew it so my kid can stick his hand out, but anyway, this is the sleeping bag I'd recommend. And I will have that link down below, as well as I do have, I think, a 10% off discount code with Morrison. How do you feed your baby solids on hikes? So I've done baby-led weaning for both of my kids, meaning I don't really do purees. I just give them little bits of food as they're starting to eat solids. So steamed veggies, avocado, oatmeal, things like that. So when we're on the trail, I just kind of do the same things. I bring things that they can eat. So I do some puree. So I bring like organic fruit and veggie pouches, as well as I'll do little pieces of fruit leather or whatever is appropriate for them to eat at the time. Dried fruit, raisins, I'll bring blueberries, I'll bring string cheese. So whatever they're eating, I just bring it from home onto the trail. How do you fund your travels? I think when people look at my page, there's a little bit of a misconception that I'm traveling all over to go on these beautiful hikes, but I do live in Utah and we have a very diverse range of trails here, I guess you could say. So I can drive 20 minutes and be in beautiful mountains. I can drive a few hours and be down to the desert. I can drive a couple hours a different direction and I can be hiking by high alpine lakes. So I really don't travel as much as it may seem because I just live really close to some beautiful locations. It really doesn't cost us that much. It has cost us a decent amount of money to build up our gear, but I have worked in the outdoor industry prior to being a mom. So we got some really amazing deals on like our backpacking packs and our tents. So I just have worked in places where I've gotten some good deals. I do get a decent amount of free gear now that Instagram and social media is my job. So companies will send me some outdoor gear for my kids to try out. That's where I got like all my kids' snow buntings, where they were gifted to me. So that is a huge help. But yeah, we just save our money. We're not big spenders when it comes to eating out or buying fancy furniture. We still don't have like a bed frame. We don't have bedside tables. So we have Logan's dresser from when he was in high school. So we just choose to spend our money on hiking and camping. So that's just where we choose to spend our money. All of our money though does come from me influencing on social media. So that's pretty awesome. Logan does make money being in the Air Force Reserves, and he has finished flight school, so he will be flying soon and making money that way, but that is how we do it. How did you start getting comfortable breastfeeding in public? When I had my first kid, it was during the pandemic, so I was home a lot. So I didn't have to breastfeed in public all that much. But with my second, I've gotten a lot more confident in doing that. My baby, I did feed him throughout all of our hikes, but usually hiking, I don't see as many people. And I think again, it just goes back to that confidence that first question about gaining confidence. It just comes over time and doing it more and more. So doing whatever makes you feel comfortable. I don't like nursing with a cover because it annoys me, it annoys my baby, it gets hot. So I've just learned how to nurse so I still feel covered enough for my comfort level. Wearing a shirt like this, so if I were to nurse, I could pull this shirt up, but this would still be covering me. I liked doing that a lot. And yeah, it's just really a thing, like you do it more and you get more comfortable with it. I have never had anybody make a comment to me in person about breastfeeding in public. I get it all the time online, but that bothers me less because their opinion really does not matter to me at all. So just comes with time. Did you have a C-section with either of your babies? I'm struggling with recovery. Yes, my first was a C-section. I can do a whole story time video on this if you're interested, but basically I did fall while I was hiking and had to go into the hospital and have a C-section to get him out. I'm so sorry to hear your recovery is hard, and C-section recoveries are they're just difficult. All recovering from birth in general is difficult because you have this new baby you have to take care of, and you have to take care of yourself. So I did have a C-section with my first, but I did have a VBAC with my second, which is what I wanted. And yeah, I mean, I guess you didn't ask for advice, but I'm gonna give some advice in case that's what you're looking for. I did rest a lot, having my baby in pack and play. We had both our babies in pack and plays when they're first born, and having them up higher so you don't have to bend over so far to get them, asking for help and taking the help that's offered if that is your situation. So my mom came and helped a lot. I let my husband do as much as he could do. So things like in the middle of the night, I was exclusively breastfeeding my baby. So he would wake up, change the baby when they were ready to eat, and then I would feed them, and then I would give the baby back to him, and he would change them again if needed, rock him back to sleep. I also did have the unique experience that my husband was gone right after he was born, so I did do a lot of that on my own, but just taking it easy as much as I could, and it gets better, but I'm so sorry. C-sections are rough. Different feeding positions while hiking. I'm still working on what is most comfortable. I have a YouTube short showing how I feed my baby while she's in the hiking carrier, so I will link to that. But essentially what I do is I have my carrier on, I loosen whatever side I want her to nurse on, I will loosen those straps, lower them, and then help her latch. And either I'll have to hold her head depending on how young she is. When she was younger, I supported her head the whole time, but now she's older, she can just hold on herself. With my oldest though, he was not able to do that. He had a poor latch. I didn't realize that at the time. So he wasn't able to stay latched without my help. So some babies are just different. If you're having a really hard time, I would check their latch with your pediatrician and see if that's something you could get fixed, or just keep trying, I guess. Can you use a baby carrier while pregnant? That is up to you and your doctor and whatever your situation is. I did. I used my framed carrier for the first little while, and then partway through my third trimester, it was just a lot more uncomfortable, and I found my soft carrier to be a lot more comfortable. I just wore the strap under my belly. More pressure was on my shoulders, so be aware of that. If you have a heavier kid, it probably will hurt more. And then our back muscles just aren't as strong when pregnant because we don't have our core to support our lower back, so it just is a little bit harder, but for me, it was doable, but of course I recommend checking in with your doctor before you were to carry your toddler while pregnant. What gear would you recommend for someone starting out on solo and or family hiking trips? For just day hikes, you need pretty much just the basic hiking necessities. Like REI has a list of 10 essentials, but some extra things you might need for kids, I do have a list. Is number one, a good carrier. So whether that's a soft carrier or a framed carrier, I actually have a whole blog post on when I use a framed carrier versus when I use a soft carrier for hiking. I will have that link down below. But a good carrier is a must and probably one of the most important things for hiking with young kids. Plenty of snacks. I love having different snack options depending on what's gonna motivate my toddler the most. Sometimes he's really in the mood for a granola bar, sometimes it's fruit snacks. You just never know. Of course, diapers and wipes, so just some basic necessities. Making sure you have a good first aid kit. It doesn't necessarily have to be massive, but just something that will help for those small things. For kids, a Band-Aid really can be the difference between them melting down from a scraped knee to feeling a lot better. So making sure you have some good first aid essentials to help kids with the smaller injuries that they may occur, which is usually just like some bumps and scrapes. Making sure you have good hiking shoes for yourself. I prefer hiking in trail runners most of the year unless it's really cold or I'm carrying a lot of weight on my back. So getting some comfortable shoes. And then another one is not a thing, but downloading the All Trails app on your phone if you don't already have that. It's a great way to find trails in your area. You can see like recent reviews of what people say the trail conditions are or how they liked it. You can also like filter by like if you want to see a waterfall or a lake or wildflowers, you can filter by that. So I definitely recommend the All Trails app if you don't already use that. Another thing I'd recommend, it's a plug for myself, but I have created a hiking with babies guide. I created it like 2 years ago now, but the information is all still really good. I just put all of my knowledge into this PDF. It's pages and pages long. It's got a packing list. It's how to deal with wildlife. It's how to dress yourself and your kids. I have a winter version as well. That's a smaller one, so specifically for winter hiking. But yeah, I will link to that below. Pretty much any question you might have about hiking with a baby will be answered in that PDF. All right, so that's actually my last question. I had a lot more questions I didn't get to today, so leave me any questions you have below. Maybe I'll do a part 2. But anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.